Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome you all.
All to this live session of Delhi University Sustainability Forum and Haritra Model United Nations Environment Assembly. We will be starting shortly.
The first rule of sustainability is to align with natural forces or at least not to try to defy them.
We need not protect the environment. Instead, we need to create a world that does not need environmental protection. A very warm and a bright morning to one and all assembled here. On the occasion of International Geodiversity Day, aims at raising awareness of the public and policymakers on the significance of a variety of geological and physical elements of nature, or you can say the non-living part of nature on which we are largely dependent upon. We have gathered here to witness the amalgamation of two biennial flagship events of Haritkaram, the Environment Society of Shahid Bhagat Singh College, University of Delhi. On this opportune occasion, I, Lakshya Sethi,
And, and I, Kamakshi,
welcome the august assembly of guests, scholars, dignitaries, teachers, academicians, and students with folded hands.
with India hosting the G20 presidency this year, Harit Kram decided to take cue from the theme of India G20 presidency, that is Vasudev Kutumbakam, and highlight the interconnectedness of biodiversity and the role of youth. This a week climate change and sustainability for its youth conference this year. Hence, the focal theme of Haritram's flagship event this year is Youth for One Earth, One Future, Climate Change, Sustainability and Sustainable Practices. Now I request everyone to rise up for the University of Delhi Kulgeet.
जयति जय जय ज्ञान का योग अनुपम श्रेष्ठ सुंदर दिव्य दिव्य विश्वविद्यालय निरंगम जयति जय जय जयति जय जय ज्ञान का योग सकल वसुधा निज कुटुंब की भावना सरस्वती सनातन सांस्कृतिक शिक्षा पुरातन ज्ञान धाराओं का संगम देश की सारी तारिक भूमिका शतकोटि वंदन निष्ठित सत्यम के मंगल के भावों का समागम जयति जय जय जयति जय जय ज्ञान का आलोक भव्य महाविद्यालयों के परिसरों से चिर सुशोभित श्रेष्ठ गुरुजन कर रखेंगे छात्र और छात्राएं दैत्य सज करे प्राचार पावन साधना संकल्प संयम नव वैश्विक चेतना नव क्रांति संस्कारों का उद्गम जयति जय जय जयति जय जय ज्ञान का योग अनुपम श्रेष्ठ सुंदर दिव्य दिव्य विश्वविद्यालय निरंगम जयति जय जय जयति जय जय ज्ञान का योग अनुपम ज्ञान का योग अनुपम ज्ञान का योग अनुपम ज्ञान का योग अनुपम
I would request our chief guest and our guest of honor and the people on dais to come and sit on the couch so that we can show the video. We also have a short musical treat lined up for everybody. Can I request Devesh and Rohit to present their musical piece?
नहीं 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 गुड नहीं चल रहा है गुड नहीं चल रहा है चेक 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 क्या हेलो याद है तुम स्टार्ट करो एक सेकंड एक सेकंड एक सेकंड एक सेकंड हेलो 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 मैं कहीं भी हूँ, तेरी याद साथ है किसी से कहूँ या नहीं कहूँ की बात है सुरीली अखियों वाले सुना तेरी अखियों से बहती है इधर और नींदों सपने गई तो किनारों पे उतर मेरे सपनों से आजा कहीं पे और मिल जा कहीं पे मिल जा कहीं समय से परे समय से परे मुझे कहीं तुझ कभी मेरे अखियों से अखियों की सुनी और मेरा बापू मेरा मेरे रंग लागे वो मुझे ख्वाब में मिले
for doing the honor. Now I request Ms. Jyoti Vashne, the convener of Harit to welcome our guest of honor, Colonel Professor Sanjay Srivastav, with a potted plant. Thank you, ma'am, for doing the honor.
Now, I request the IQAC coordinator and staff advisor of Haritgram, Dr. B.A.V. Raman, to welcome our principal, Professor Arun Kumar Athri, with a potted plant.
Thank you, sir. I request Dr. B.A.V. Raman, the staff advisor of Harit to deliver his opening remarks.
Honorable Shri Kartikeyaji from the Center for Environment Education, Colonel Professor Sanjay Srivastavji, our patron of Haritkaran and Principal Professor Arun Kumar Atriji, and all the faculty associated with Haritkaram and those from the college, from outside the college, teachers,
A very good morning and namaste to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank chief guest of the day, Mr. Karthikeya Sarabhai, who is the founder and director of Center for Environment Education.
And a guest of honor of the day, Professor Colonel Professor Sanjay Srivastava. Many of you might be wondering that an army officer is also a professor. Actually, when I was an academic council member, the UGC came with a scheme of professor of practice, and there was a lot of opposition. The kind of academic community has that this gives uh, the space or way where the people, those who are not in the profession, they will be coming and teaching. So I was the one who supported this and said that if the people are coming from different fields, you will get the real world experience. Students will get that experience. So he is a professor in practice in Terry SES, and this is what we see the real example that when the policies are being made, what implication it has in real life. So welcome you, sir. Thank you for I would also like to thank our convener, Jyoti Vashne, and the advisor, Dr. V.A.B. Raman, and the entire Harithkaram team, my colleagues in the morning college, and students. I am seeing the students coming from other schools as well, and the teachers. So welcome to all of you. So I welcome you all to this 5th edition of Delhi University Sustainability Forum and the 6th edition of Harithkaram Model United Nations Environment Assembly, organized by Harithkaram. Now the theme that has been chosen for this 3-day conference, you can see, is Youth for One Earth, One Future, Climate Change, column Climate Change, Sustainability and Sustainable Practices. Actually, it draws inspiration from 3 sources. Recently, we have concluded G20 Summit in New Delhi, and you all might have gone through its motto, Vasudev Kutumbakam, which is one earth, one family, and one future. So basically, we are trying to convey that whatever happens in the world, if happening in one part of the world, the other part cannot remain aloof from that, and it is affected by it. The same goes with the environment. So if some countries are polluting the environment, doesn't mean that they are polluting the environment, they are not, other countries are not affected by it. So if global warming is there, the environment issues are global issues. So if that's why they say global warming. So if any particular country emitting more carbon footprints, so it affects the other countries as well. So India has tried to depict that with the G20 summit, that how we believe in inclusiveness and the holistic development of the entire earth and humanity. Then the mission life, an Indian-led global mass movement to promote an environmentally consciousness lifestyle, environmentally conscious lifestyle. So this is what everybody can do that. When people ask that what we can do for the environment, everybody can do. You have seen this video, and you can see that when it comes to waste segregation and all that, so we can do a bit of efforts from everyone's side, and we can contribute to the healthy environment. And most importantly, the youth has to play an important role. Now, youth is something you are full of energy, and you have to be a change agent. So you have not only to practice it, but you also have to take this message in the society that yes, everybody has to do it, everybody has to contribute for the environment. A few months back, we had an environment from the municipal corporation. They were telling that in Delhi, by 2032, we will not be having any space for dumping the waste. So this is a very alarming situation that we, हम क्या करते हैं, कुछ भी खाया फेंक दिया या डस्टबिन में हमने डाल दिया without segregating. You see that what pains it takes, how much efforts it takes when somebody is segregating that waste that you are doing. So, and if we move for sustainability, whatever waste we are generating, if we can convert them into manure, or it will be very helpful. And this step has been taken by Shaheed Bhagat Singh College, where we have created composite pits, and we have water harvesting mechanism also in our college. And I'm thankful to our green man Dr. V. Raman, who has been constantly putting his efforts. So again, I would like to reiterate that it's a matter of great pride for the college that these handful of students, Haritgram volunteers, I would like to thank them also because they are working tirelessly, and I am seeing their enthusiasm from last so many days, and I think many of them have not slept the whole night, and they have been busy in organizing this event. So with such a green brigade united with such motivated youth, elsewhere too, I am sure the youth all over the world can lead the fight against the climate change, and we will achieve what we want to. So I will not take much time and would like to thank you all the dignitaries on the dais and all the student volunteers and everybody who is present here, taking out their precious times and attending this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your motivating words, sir. We look up your energy and positivity, inspiration and affirmative action. Without further ado, I want to introduce our guest of honor, Colonel Professor Sanjay Srivastava. Colonel Sanjay is an active climate and environment-related disaster risk management professional. He has been instrumental in bringing a paradigm shift in disaster risk management from responsive to proactive management. He specializes in remote sensing, early warning and communication, with which he has transformed the DM setup in India. Colonel Sanjay's contribution in lightning EW and safe grid management, probabilistic and predictive model of forecast up to a week for cyclone, drought and flood advance, with which give educate warning for preparedness, enhance minimum loss. Colonel Sanjay, a war-decorated veteran from Air Defense Branch of Armed Forces, has held prestigious operational and instructional appointments in the field and MOD level. Post the armed forces, he was instrumental in setting up disaster management in Jharkhand. He has also worked with the UN institutions like UNDP and other international bodies. He is a prolific writer and specializes on strategic and real-time issues on climate change. Doordarshan, All India Radio and Discovery has made several documentaries on his exemplary work. He has 56 publications to his credit and is a key writer, speaker in media. Due to the contribution of Colonel Sanjay Srivastava, he is also known as the Lightning Man of India. Sir, I request you to kindly come and share your experience and expertise with the Assembly.
Esteemed Dr. Karthikeya Sarabhai, the Principal Sir, Dr. Raman, Dr. Jyoti Vashne, the organizers, the conveners, coordinators, and the youths of Haritgram. In fact, I feel honored and energized being here. At the very outset, I would like to thank Shahid Bhagat Singh College for considering me as guest of honor and giving me this opportunity to be amongst you. In fact, it is a university or academia where your basic foundation is laid. And today, whatever one is courtesy the academic background and the grooming what you go through. In fact, I belong to a family where green was part of the life. My father, right from the childhood, used to be in the business of gardening. He was an agriculture scientist. And every morning he will get up and take all of us to the garden, whether it is a garden in front of the house or garden in the backyard or in the agriculture field. So this has been part of our life, and I must tell you, today when I saw the theme, Youth for One Earth, One Future, Climate Change, Sustainability, and sustainable practices. If you hear the Prime Minister during the recent G20, where I was actively involved, it was the first time that we formed a working group on TRR and climate change. The 13th working group has come up on this. And imagine the implication, despite this G20 getting over, every leader from the world walked over to the Prime Minister and they appreciated the efforts being taken by India, whether in terms of life mission, whether in terms of transition to the renewable energy or other climate actions. One thing is there, you cannot stop the nature, but you have to learn how to live with it and how to improve the systems. In fact, we are running late and I suppose I have 8 minutes more, sir. I was given 10 minutes time, 2 minutes are over. So can I take, sir, 8 more minutes? 5 minutes. Thank you, sir. No, time management is most important. Life is driven by the time. Tell him a work done on time is a work, otherwise it's a null. That's what the army training tells us. As far as the agendas and future actions are concerned, I was really happy. I was going through your concept notes, websites, what is happening. It really encourages you when you are a practitioner and a policy maker in the field. I have been author of 12 national programs which are by the Government of India. So writing a national program means a lot. And I always feel that all these agendas where we write the national program, in fact I had the honor of requesting Professor Sharma for giving me few students, and the National Lightning Risk Management Program which has been written has a great contribution from Shahid Bhagat Singh College. Sir, I must acknowledge your students have done wonders, and especially we have incorporated the climate action parts. What individuals will do and what academia will do. We have created a space and budget for academia so that every local academia is involved in the implementation part of the program. You design a national program, generally I find academia missing. So this is a big lesson. You are missing out the knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, and participation comes from the youth. Today in Odisha, we have made coalition of 17 state universities, AIMS, NIT, and NIT Rourkela. Those 20 universities are creating wonders. You saw the Balasore train accident. 2,000 students reached, donated blood, did everything. Today they have undertaken the tree plantation. The lightning, the cyclone, the drought has increased. The water bodies are being depleted. There is a man-to-animal conflict. The crocodiles are coming out. How do you balance it out? You need a proactive, aggressive action from us. So it's very important that academia participation is undertaken in a societal affairs. Today, the students are going to the field, taking a door-to-door awareness campaign among the people. That is how you sensitize a villager. Today in Delhi, we all know the pollution is there. But every morning we wake up and 3 crore vehicles start emitting. Can you control the emission? Winter has set in, October is in, November we all will be down with the cough and various affairs. There is a need to aggressively pursue people, change the behavioral habit. Ultimately, every effort boils down to the socio-behavioral changes pattern. That is how you undertake it. And that is where when it comes to energy transition, we all are into a phase. You imagine we are using the petrol which comes from far away from the Middle East. The cost, what we bear, is a heavy price we pay. Why not to use the local resources? How do we do it? You find it out. We have the resources, we have the technology. I was in Korea, I saw the way they are using the hydrogen fuel cells. Modular cells in their small affairs, lighting their house, using their mobility. We need to come up with the solutions. We have so much of waste being generated. Are we recycling it in a proper manner? We have plastic waste, we have natural waste, we have green waste. How do we take it? So it's very important that your renewable energy transition has to be considered with the local environment. What are the resources available, and it has to be undertaken. Ethanol, methanol, the way plants are coming up, what is at the grassroots level, what is at the common man's level, that has to come from the academia. Your climate adaptation and resilience. We all talk about climate adaptation and resilience. How much we ourselves adopt it. We see Google. I'm sorry, since I am an Indian government person, I'll always say you go for Mausam. We have all our radars. We have 48 of them, which is shortly going to be 82 of them. We have satellites, we have automatic weather stations. They all are giving input to your Mausam. So kindly use Mausam when you get all the weather inputs properly. I request avoid using other, what I mean. I'm an army officer, always I refer, I was a staff officer in Kargil and I told army commander, sorry sir, the GPS navigation is failing, but troops are going from X to Y location. Our pilot has landed in the other direction. The GPS was offset by the GPS provider. We stopped it and I went to field, I was at Dras, we used our natural tactics and we won the war. So it is important you rely on your indigenous technology in the climate adaptation and resilience. You have your own radars, you can see how much, you have your own satellites, NDM by NRSC, it's accessible publicly. You go on the satellite, what was the greenery 10 years back, what is now, and what you aim to be in future. The way in various universities where I am working with, I have given them areas, you plant trees, we'll see the soil moisture index, the normal vegetation index after some time. That will give you a measurable outcome of your work which you are doing. So we have to undertake these measures in a manner which is measurable. Anything not measured, we take it as not done. You cannot be vague. In fact, I am a physics and math student, I am a student of environmental stats. Unless you define it mathematically, this ratio, this range, I think your job is not done. So you must have a measured action on climate adaptation and resilience. Today what happened in Sikkim or Himachal or Uttarakhand or Delhi or Kerala, it's all because we left it vague. We said there is an environmental degradation, but in environmental degradation there are many aspects. You have a lithosphere, you have a biosphere, you have an atmosphere, you have a cryosphere, you have a hydrosphere. All these spheres need to be identified and quantified. Where we were, what are we, and what we need to do. And unless you have a scalable, stepwise, tier-wise program with collective partnership, you are not going to reach a result. And that drives your sustainable consumption and production. It's very important you consume what you deserve. Don't import and deserve. Don't import and have it. We had green revolution with due regard to late Dr. Swaminathan. We could become self-reliant in our food, but the wheat came from abroad. Our basic habits are rice-eating habits. We need to complement our food supplement also in a manner which is hygienic and suits our body. Today the problem of gluten-free or the other things which are happening, we need to identify what we need to consume. The local resources which are available, the millet which is now being taken, that's our original produce. So we should think homogeneous and what is good for us. We had our Vedic Sanskriti, all sciences are there. You must also get back into your Vedic science, what it was. We must examine those traditional practices and we should compare it with the modern technology. I am a very, very strong supporter of the modern technology, but with a catch that I'll also look for my Vedic science. We have circular economy, waste management. That's a major problem of our country now we are facing. We have to take this holistically right from individual level to collective level. As far as green finance and investments are concerned, in India, Yes Bank took up a green bond, and after that, no action. What is the status of the green bond? Please Google it. We are not in a comfortable position. Advocacy is fine. We need to generate green finance for our programs and incorporate it in our implementation. So far, we have not been able to generate green finance and climate finance. This economy worldwide is growing. This is a big gray area where we have to work. Transparency, accountability in climate agreement, I will not emphasize more on this, but I will emphasize on two things. One is socio-economic aspect of all these things. That is the most important part of our research. Ultimately, all our research, academia, policy, programs, it means for the common people. So socio-economic part we must identify whenever we take, whether it is environment, whether it is disaster risk reduction or the economy. And second is the healthcare. All this affects us. We need to have a proper renaissance, proper awareness towards our health. India has come with Aadhaar card, Ayushman Bharat card, where you are supposed to have your health ID, get all your parameters. Today, our tendency is not to know what are my parameters. We don't know. And in case something happens, I'll ask my friend, I'll ask my family members, and when we reach the doctor, we are in a bad state. And when we reach the doctor also, he writes your test 24 hours, 48 hours, you waste in that. So those are the practical aspects. Healthcare, a healthy India, awakened India is required. We need to take care of health. I am an army officer, we have a health card. My last 38 years record, I just go press my thumb and it's there on the R&R hospital or any military hospital. Again, we were taught in our armed forces about the green culture, about the saving of the economy. So all these things are very important how you take it. You go to any kind, you say it's very good, it's beautiful, clean, green. Why? Because the teaching is right there since beginning. I came to Shahid Bhagat Singh College from outside the moment I entered. What a serene environment. So those things has to be replicated outside also in the society. With this, I again express my sincere thanks for the opportunity and sharing my whatever small knowledge I have with you. And I am thankful for all the support from Shahid Bhagat Singh College, especially to Professor Sharma for all the help always, and Professor Arora, because they are from the DRR domain, and in all my programs, Shahid Bhagat Singh College is an active participant. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Though we are still wallowing in the thoughts ignited by Colonel Professor Sanjay Srivastava, we have another storehouse of knowledge amongst us, Mr. Kartike Sarabhai, who I am pretty sure the audience is eager to listen to. Mr. Sarabhai is the founder and director of the Center for Environment Education, headquartered in Ahmedabad with offices across India. He is closely involved in the activities of the Nehru Foundation for Development, of Vikram Sarabhai Center for Development Interaction, VICSEL, and of Ahmedabad's Vikram Sarabhai Community Science Center. He has served on many committees set up by the Ministry of Environment and Forest and the Ministry of Human Resource Development of the Government of India, primarily focusing on the greening of India's formal education system and initiatives for biodiversity education. He is a member of the Earth Charter International Council and was part of the delegations which represented India at the Earth Summit 1992 in Rio and Earth Summit 2002 in Johannesburg. Mr. Sarabhai was a co-chair of the Global Citizenship Working Group of the Learning Matrix Task Force 2.0, convened by the Center for Universal Education at Brookings Institution to examine how global citizenship education is measured and make recommendations for new ways of assessing learning. He was a chairholder of the UNESCO Chair on Education for Sustainable Development and Human Habitat. He is the editor of the Journal of Education for Sustainable Development, published by SAGE, and has written and spoken extensively on environment, education, sustainable development subjects in national and international forums. Though Sir का तो नाम ही काफी है, I would like to inform the unversed that Sir comes from illustrious family of Padma awardees. The Vikram lander of Chandrayaan-3, which made history by becoming the first lander to land on south pole of the moon, is a tribute to Mr. Kartikeya Sarabhai's father, the visionary scientist, Mr. Vikram Sarabhai. So, we are very grateful to you for coming to our college all the way from Ahmedabad. Sir, I would like to invite you to deliver your presidential remarks.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here at the college. As Shivaswara said, you can sort of sense a place which cares for the environment. The minute you step in, my colleagues on the dais, and all of you. And it's nice today to see both the DUSF and the H-MUNEA doing this together. I thought I would deal with some part of my UN experience also, as they said, in this talk. You know, this morning when I was reading the paper, it talks about September, which has just ended, being the hottest September ever. I talked 2 months ago, I had to say the same thing about July, because that July was also the hottest July ever. The climate's records, usually when they break a record, like this now the sports are going on, you break it by a small fraction. You know, it's not something like a huge change. So things happen like that. But this time, this hottest thing has been with such a huge margin. Usually it is 1/10, but this is 0.5 degrees Celsius is the difference. So it's not just it's the hottest, it's not hottest by a small margin, it is hottest by 0.5 degrees Celsius. And if we compare with pre-industrial period, this is what usually when we talk about increase in climate or increase in global warming or temperature, we compare it with the period 1850 to 1900, which is pre-industrial revolution, when human beings, like every other species of the planet, had to manage with whatever resources were in your daily situation, till one day we found the key to the savings bank account, if you like, which was underground, the fossil fuels. And then, of course, our inventiveness made us the engine. And suddenly it was like us going wild. Suddenly someone giving you, in college you're managing well, you're doing everything, and suddenly you have this huge savings bank account, you have the key, and you go wild. And human beings did go wild, have gone wild. How we need to put a stop and why these issues are so much. But interestingly, that over 1850 to 1900, if we take the temperature rise, which is from January to September, it is already 1.75 degrees higher than that limit. Now, as you must know, 1.4 degrees higher. And as you know, that the limit put globally was to come out, stop it at 1.5 degrees. So if you take this year specifically, you're going so close to that limit, and we are nowhere near a situation where we can balance. So this whole situation is rather alarming, and how do we deal with it? And people ask me, why is 1.5 degrees? Surely morning till evening it's 1.5 degrees. Summer to winter is even more. So why are we making this big fuss about 1.5 degrees? What is 1.5 degrees? And usually when we ask the school children what it is, we say, how many of you have had a fever? And of course everyone will raise their hands, as if I were to ask here, it would be the same. And if you have 1.5 degrees Celsius going up, even Fahrenheit 1.5 degrees, you will not be able to come to school. Because there's a difference between a systemic temperature rise and a temperature rise which is external in one place. So in summer, winter, we can manage it. A child can go out if it's hot or go out if it's cold, doesn't matter. But if his system temperature goes up and he has a fever, you can't go out. And I think we have to understand that when we talk about these degrees, we are talking about a systemic global thing which is measured through a lot of different points. And therefore sometimes global warming is also sometimes the wrong word, climate change, because global warming, President Trump and several people in America, unfortunately, who are climate deniers, they say, because you're standing in the middle of New York with lots of snow and saying, oh, these people are talking about climate change, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? Global warming, it's getting even colder. But that's because of the extremes which we are having. And therefore the correct word would really be extreme climates and not just warming. Average, yes, average is warming, but not individually. But what is all this? Why this very delicate balance? And that delicate balance is what was said here, the G20, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, how we are part of a system which is so unique. I often ask again, what is it that you don't find in nature? What is it that is not in nature? And of course, one of the answers is waste. You go into a forest, there is no concept of waste. Every output is an input into something else. There was a major cyclone and several trees fell down in the Gir. And there was a debate, should we remove them or not? And people rightfully, biologists and others said, no, that fallen tree is again life for something else. It's a cyclical process. And it took us a long time to even realize that. Nature is all around us trying to teach us how humans should live. Srivastava Sanjay talked about the circular economy. The concept of circularity, which is so fundamental to the balance, is completely forgotten in that post-industrial area, where we thought of progress meaning going from here to here, and in the process leaving waste, which cannot be taken into account. But as I said, looking at the fact that we are also talking of the model UNEA, let me go back a little bit and talk about something which happened, which really marked global consciousness on environment. And that was this conference in 1972 in Stockholm, Sweden. They had invited everyone, the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, on the human environment, and only one head of government, only one Prime Minister, as you know, accepted that invitation, and that was Indira Gandhi from India. And I saw some of the papers leading up to that, the debates in India, whether we should go or not. And it was interesting. India was saying, "Ye to problem hai developed countries ki. Why are we bothering?" And I think India took a different stand right at that stage, and that is where that famous speech was made, where she said that the problem of environment and of poverty, and of development, in other words, cannot be solved in isolation. That unless you solve the problems of environment, you cannot solve the problem of poverty, and vice versa. You cannot hope to save the environment and say that people have to be living in poverty. That is also not possible. So these two words have to somehow go together. And that was, of course, that day in 72 when everything started was June the 5th. And therefore that 72 June the 5th we mark as World Environment Day. And that is also when the United Nations Environment Programme got started, the head of which is coming here tomorrow to speak to all of you. So that program also, so that was a very significant thing. But 20 years later in 92, now these two words are used together. So the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. Till then people are saying development versus environment. Now they are talking it together. I had the good fortune of being part of the Indian delegation in 92 to go there and writing the India report. And I remember this one sentence from that report. We said that the challenge of development for India is not how to get there, but how not to. Now what does that mean? What it meant was that the model of development which we all had in our mind, largely at that time, but even largely today, is a model of what we see in the films, what we see in the Western countries, a model which is based on heavy use of fossil fuels, cars to transport everyone, spread out cities like Los Angeles or others, seeing fossil fuels being completely used without care, which is a model which is impossible. It's not a model which we can even aspire to. Even if someone had a wand and said, everyone in Delhi, let them have a car today, none of us would be able to go to the next place we want to go to because it will completely jam every place we have. So how do we do something differently? And that is where the youth challenge comes in. So young people have to think that not only do you have the challenge of saving the environment, you have the challenge of rapid development, and India is one of the rapidest developing large countries in the world, but the direction which you have to go is not defined. There is nobody there out there which you can say this is the model we want to go to. And which is what, again coming back to G20 and the leadership of our Prime Minister, what is he saying? He's saying that we will be the leaders, we will show the world what this developed state is going to be. Especially for developing countries which are yet to make their cities, they cannot look to the West to look at how to do it. You have to look to the West to study it, to some extent what not to do. You have to study it because there are lots of good things there, but there are many things they cannot change overnight their infrastructure. We are still building our infrastructure. The Delhi, by the time you become my age, where we are now will be some old Delhi here. We are sitting here. It will be a completely different place. Most of what will be built at that time is not built today. We are sort of having to build it today to go there. And at that 92 conference, there were many things, important things happened. One was, of course, the UNFCCC, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Because climate change was recognized at that time, along with sister, if you like, concerns of biodiversity, desertification, and others. But it was there that UNFCCC. In my introduction, there is mentioned Earth Charter, which I was the chairman of till recently. The Earth Charter was supposed to come out as a 92 UN document. And it talks about values and ethics. What are the values and ethics which go with this new world? And they wanted everyone to come. So obviously, Senior Bush was the president of the United States, and they invited him. And his conditionality was, one of the conditions was, if you bring this Earth Charter and if you talk about values and ethics, then I am not coming. No values, so that we had to remove, they had to remove it from that agenda. And it became finally launched as a people's movement. But the other thing which he did was, he made this rather infamous comment that the American lifestyle is not up for negotiation. He says, you tell us that you should not emit this, you tell us this, you tell us that, whatever you like, but don't use the word lifestyle. And as a result, in the United Nations, in all these climate change negotiations, we could never use the word lifestyle. Nobody could. In 2015, and now fast forwarding it, 2015 a lot of things happened. First of all, the Sustainable Development Goals came about in September. Because what is this developed stage? So they happened in September that year. And then of course the COP, which led to the Paris Agreement. And thanks to, if you like, the insistence of the Indian delegation and the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, the word lifestyle for the first time goes into the preamble at least of that document. Right? The other thing he did at that time was he told us at CE that I want to let the world know that there are many things in our tradition which are climate friendly. We might not call it climate friendly, but they are climate friendly because that is our life. That is the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is how from the Puranas we link with the environment. If you ask me, are you doing it because of climate? The answer is no. That is how I do it. The other day I came down without switching my light, and my maid says, "Sir, you have forgotten something upstairs." I said, क्या हुआ? He said, आप लाइट बंद नहीं किया. Now this is, she's illiterate. She doesn't go up and do it. She tells me that you have forgotten something. That is the sanskar which is there in Indians, whether they are literate, illiterate, whatever it is. Maybe too literate they forget it, but otherwise they all have it. Right? These are the traditions. So we brought out this volume for the Indian government, which is called Parampara, India's climate-friendly practices. And it's a wonderful book. In fact, I will send one for the college, which you should have. But that book was the starting of this whole issue of what became life, this project life. It was to understand that it is in our practices, small practices. You go to in Gujarat, if at the end of the day some rotis are left over, what do? They make it into khakra. Now, of course, khakra itself is the dish, so you start by making khakra. But otherwise, khakra was a recycled product, so that I don't have to refrigerate that thing, and yet I can have something tasty for the next day. And that tradition is all over. In Orissa, for instance, some of the rice becomes a breakfast dish. It's slightly fermented and it's very good. Colonel Saab spoke about Kargil. So after that after that there was an earthquake there, if you remember. And many of the Gujarat School of Architecture people along with us went to there to see how to rebuild. And they were amazed that under the living room there was another like a room where all the goats and sheep were kept. So we were a bit concerned, why was that? And he asked them. He said, why? Because that heat of the goats and the sheep doesn't go waste. It actually warms the floor of the living room above. Small architectural details. Even the body heat of your animals should not go waste, but it keeps the room above warm. Now, learnings like this are from all over India. In fact, when we brought up that volume, many of our youth people, we wrote to them, please write down something from your own family and send it to us. And those letters are still there. We have to obviously select some for the volume. And you can do that here also. Say, what are some parampara? Every day you can put it up somewhere. Say, one parampara which you know, which is good for the environment and not classified that way when it started. So we were talking at that time, India in leadership, of course our parampara, but simultaneously, if you like, India formed the Solar Alliance. Prime Minister Modi with Mitterrand, with the French Prime Minister, and that alliance has got a further boost just now. I think they're adding other renewables to it. So we are looking at both the modern and the tradition. But at the underlying it is to say that India can do things appropriately and differently and not just imitate it. Because the space program was mentioned. And I remember in a lecture like this, I was maybe 17 or 18, I'd come back for a summer holiday, and I was sitting in the last row and my father was arguing in one of the ministries, and I had the opportunity of being there. And he was arguing why the Department of Space should be involved in education, because he was saying that the satellite can reach education to the remotest villages, even where there are no roads, through putting a dish there. There was a chicken mesh dish at that time. And it can do remote sensing, which was also mentioned, and it can do point-to-point communication, which we do. Today, of course, everyone knows can be satellite से हो सकता है. So that's why they were saying कि भाई Department of Space ये दूरदर्शन की बात में क्यों इंटरफेयर कर रही है? आप आपका स्पेस रिसर्च करो ना. There was this whole concept कि भाई ये space to space है energy, and this is something else. But that whole thing of bringing in, but that program, because right from the beginning, they were asked कि भाई अमेरिका ने किया है? बोले नहीं, अमेरिका ने नहीं किया है. क्यों नहीं किया? तो हम क्यों करें? Because that whole model is if they've done it first, then it must be correct. So he had to argue that in America, those companies, television companies, had already laid the cables. So for them, if the satellite comes, then all their investment goes completely useless. So they had the technology, but did not want to immediately use it or postpone it till as many years as they could. In India, we did not have the cables. And so we could leapfrog, we could go beyond what was there because we did not have this problem of existing infrastructure. So that whole thinking that we can go differently, we can do something, and that comes from young minds and doing it. And as you know, something like 25%, I think, of young people in the world are in South Asia. India being, of course, the biggest. It's not a small number. World is aging, and we are talking about many things here. We are talking about, of course, lifestyle, which has already been mentioned. We are talking about green skills. There's the Green Skills Council in India, just identifying that over the next 10 years, what are the skills which will be required in the market? Can the colleges come up to the green skill list? And green skills are not only new skills, it is also the skills you are building. So engineering, I'm doing engineering. Can the engineering be done so that I can see it from an environment perspective? Can I do medical with the environment perspective? Can I do something else? Food, for instance, we are talking about millets. Can I let people know more about the nutritional value of millets? But this whole approach, Indian approach, has been of optimizing rather than maximizing single variables. I was once in Bangkok and give a keynote. I'd come the previous evening, and the hall was on the first floor. And I asked that man. He said, "नहीं अभी हमने सब staircase निकाल दिए, lift में से जाना है, only emergency के लिए रखा है. There's only a lift." I said, "Fine." Then I go into the gym, and the gym guy is showing me a wonderful new instrument he's got, which simulates the staircase. So on the one side, I create a situation where I don't have to climb. On the other side, I create a gym in which I have to simulate what I could do in any way. Some of you might have seen this very interesting program on UTT or on what is called Blue Zones. This man who said, "Let me go to those places in the world where the concentration of 100-year-old plus people is the highest, and let me find out what is उसमें खुदी क्या है." And he finds that 100-year-old are chopping wood, they are doing this, they are doing that. There's not a single person with dementia. There's not a, I mean, it's worth looking at, and they are all eating millets, and they are all climbing up stairs and doing things. And that is again coming back to our lifestyle issue. We really need to examine our head that why is it that we create lifestyles where we sit all the time and then wonder why is it that we are getting unhealthy, why is it this happening, why is it something else happening. So how do we move forward? And what I am advising colleges is a number of things. Of course, green skills is there. The time Turner program, I think you already participated, which we do with UNEP and WWF and C, we've already participated. But a program which I like very much to talk about is the handprint. Now that is something which came out of a Hyderabad school, 10-year-old girls. They said, you are giving lectures on footprint and you're saying about how we consume. What about our strength? So they called it a handprint. There's a little 10-year-old girl called Shrija, and it is her handprint, and we launched it in 2007. Today it is globally used. One of the only things from India, simple, which is used internationally, and you should also be proud of that. The Germany has a German website on it. Every day I'm getting a letter, can we use it like this or can we do that? And the concept is that we can actually do. So earlier we used to do education by chalk and talk and things like that. Then we started doing action education, more experiments. And now we do handprint activity, which is actually like what you do here. Plant the trees, make your campus. I believe you're trying to make this campus is going to be a zero waste campus and everything. But what we are doing just now is taking an area outside the campus, say a certain area in Delhi. You say that this is the area which is our lab, handprint lab we call it. And you've got a program, you say that in this area, on the different parameters, we will see that there is a zero waste area. Our college, it's not only when you enter the college that I find wow, but when I enter this area, I say, Bhagat Singh College, the impact of Bhagat Singh College is right from there or all the other colleges which are here. Take an area, and we call this the handprint lab. It's an action plan. I wanted to end in a sense by saying that when humanity takes concerted action together, like we had to in COVID. In COVID times, people started forgetting boundaries. People knew that they had to share faster. Scientific research happened in various places, multiple solutions, including those in India. The person who found one of the vaccines was given a Nobel Prize 2 days ago. It was a concerted effort, and India actually responded so well that we could manage COVID well. Climate change is a similar thing. The problem is it is like gaining weight or losing hair. Gaining weight between yesterday's photo and today's photo, I don't find myself very different. It's only when I see a photo, maybe someone showed me a 10-year-old photograph, that I realize what has happened. Now, because of our mental time frame is shorter and the climate change cycle is longer, we don't see the impact which we are having as much as we did in COVID. Because in COVID, there was a time in the second phase where I don't think anyone was there who didn't know someone who some relative didn't die. It became so bad because it was personal. But here we are not able to feel it. We are able to feel it when this Sikkim people will realize what happened to them. They will realize. But our memories are very short, unfortunately. That before you know it, it will be things are back to normal. And how do we remember these things? Which are things? And today, even if all of you and all of us do everything right, it will still become worse before it gets better. So we will get a feeling that we are doing everything. But the position is getting worse. What difference does it make if I segregate my waste or not? It makes a huge difference that you segregate, your colleagues segregate. So finally that balance, we should not forget that they talked about the Vikram lander. So I asked people, why did we land on the South Pole? It was not the easiest, it was the most difficult place to land. So what was the reason? And the reason was not that there is gold and platinum in the South. The reason is there is water. And when we go there, all the way there, we realize that one of the most important components for human life is water and air. These are and then of course, as a result of it, biodiversity and food. And how easily we forget. We see that every Indian sees that landing, sees water, water. But the water next door, I don't mind polluting. I don't care for my air, and I don't care for my water. How do we take that lesson from space to say that if you want to create a unique ecosystem where life is possible, we've been given this by the Almighty Order, we've been given an ecosystem which is so unique, and yet we are not looking after it the way we should. And I think this 250 years of going wild after we discovered fossil fuels, I think that day is finished. We have to be responsible. Your generation can't afford to be like the other generation. But the best thing is that your generation can actually be the first generation to actually solve this problem. That you can say that our generation will be able to talk, like I'm talking to you saying, I'm sorry, we people have not been able to do it. I hope that when you come here and talk at a future DUSF'22xH-MUNEA' thing, 50 years from now or 30 years from now, you will say that we were the people who took a resolution today and that we are the people who actually done something which we should all feel proud of. Thank you very much.
Sir, a mere thank you is not enough for all the immeasurable wealth of knowledge, experience, and motivation that you managed to squeeze in those few minutes.
I request our principal, Professor Arun Kumar Atri, and student coordinators of the flagship events, Abhishek Rajman and Anshika Mishra, to present a small token of gratitude and a token of remembrance of this day to our chief guest, Mr. Karthike Saravaji. Sir, we offer this to you as a keepsake to mark this beautiful day and occasion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
You are lucky that you have a principal whose name itself has the word tree in it. So what better to be?
I now request Ms. Meeta Hussain, faculty member of Halitram and student co-coordinators of the flagship events, Shiv Kumar and Lakshya Sethi, to honor Colonel Professor Sanjay Srivastava with a memento and a bust. Thank you, everyone. Now we have one more special announcement to make. Harit Club, in collaboration with the Center for Indian Knowledge System, Shahid Bhagat Singh College, is formally launching the undergraduate research aptitude today. May I request the chief guest, Mr. Sarabhai, and the guest of honor, Colonel Professor Srivastava, to launch the competition.
Now, I request the coordinator of the Center for Indian Knowledge Systems and co-convener of Haritgram, Dr. Komal Agarwal, to briefly explain the concept of UGRA to the audience.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am delighted to announce that Haritgram, the Environment Society of Shahid Bhagat Singh College, and Center for Indian Knowledge System, Shahid Bhagat Singh College, under the aegis of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell, jointly launch an inter-college research-oriented competition for undergraduate students called UGRA, Undergraduate Research Aptitude, on the focal theme, Ecological Consciousness in Ancient India, Life Then and Now, today on the occasion of International Geodiversity Day. Our chief guest and our guest of honor mentioned concepts like ethics, values, how we need to go back to our traditional knowledge system, our indigenous practices, and compare and contrast it to our modern lifestyle, our contemporary lifestyle. And somewhere, I myself believe it's not about excluding one at the cost of the other, but sort of trying to integrate the truth. It is with that spirit in mind that we have launched the UGRA. Through the undergraduate research aptitude, we want to encourage research and interdisciplinary collaborations between students. The teams of students will comprise of 2 to 3 students, and these students will be from various disciplines and educational levels and will be mentored by a faculty member. The intention really is to start early and help shape the research ecosystem for the undergraduate students in such a manner that the research outlook is also local and indigenous, nestled in the larger tradition of the Bharatiya Gyan Parampara or Indian knowledge systems. We also envision the UGRA as a step towards fulfilling the goals of the National Education Policy, that is to make the undergraduate learning for students more research-based. The layout of the competition will ensure that the research component and mentorship will be executed with due seriousness, diligence, and mentorship. We will be holding the competition in 5 phases. In the first round, abstracts will be invited on topics related to the focal theme, which is ecological consciousness in ancient India, life then and now. After which, the selected teams will undergo 3 rounds of PowerPoint or poster presentations over the next 7 months. The shortlisted teams will be required to present their works in progress at an interval of 1.5 to 2 months before the scientific committee appointed by Harikram and CIPS of the college, which will give inputs for improvement of the research work presented. The final presentations have been scheduled for the Earth Day, that is April 22nd, 2024, the global theme for which is Planet versus Plastics. We hope that the students participating in the undergraduate research aptitude will stand benefited in many respects. We also request our colleagues to encourage your undergraduate students to participate in the event and urge our students to walk this extra mile for their own betterment and that of the earth and the environment. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, as we draw towards the end of the program, I request Ms. Jyoti Vaishnav, convener of Harikram, to deliver the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Kamakshi. A very good morning to all. So much has been said by Sir, and saying a thanks is mere formality now because we cannot thank him enough. But in fact, I feel so honored and privileged to have got this opportunity to present a vote of thanks for this particular very special occasion where so many delegates from different sections of academia, as in school, college, research scholars have assembled. Sir, on behalf of Shaheed Bhagat Singh College, the organizing committee of this conference, I convey my deep regards and heartfelt thanks to Shri Kartikeya Sarabhai ji for accepting this invitation to inaugurate this conference and encouraging our delegates, participants, audience towards, the practices where we do not have any choice left. As Sir just now said, today we take pride in, belonging to this section of Delhi called South Delhi, and it is so scary to hear that we might land up into the same chaos in times to come. So this is a reality, sir, and it is time we take note of it. Sir, I feel to sum up what I have gathered from your talk is that God has made this earth, this universe with a lot of love, care and concern, and everyone in the nature works in complete unison. Sir has just said that I'm sure we have seen it but never felt it so strongly as Sir says that no output is a waste, it is an input somewhere. So all these key points which has been mentioned by Sir, Sir, thank you so much for your presence, and we look forward to more associations in future too. I will also like to thank Colonel Professor Srivastava, Chairman Climate Resilient Observing System Promotion Council, for gracing this occasion as the guest of honor. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, your thought that the importance of sowing these seeds of concern and care for the environment must begin as early as possible is a very resonating thought. We must take a serious note of it. I'm sure, sir, your reflections will certainly take the dialogue forward towards better practices in sustainability and climate change. Shaheed Bhagat Singh College extends a very sincere thanks to all the speakers of the various sessions, the moderators, the judges, the participants of school students conference, scholars and researchers at the Young Scholars Conference, the editorial board, the delegates of HMUNEA for choosing to participate in this conference. We hope that the deliberations made during this conference will be beneficial to one and all. We also extend our gratitude to our knowledge partner, UNEP, TERI, WWF, Government of Delhi, and our other well-wishers and supporters here. Haritgram expresses sincere gratitude. This vote of thanks is incomplete without it. To our principal, sir, Professor Arun Kumar, for his consistent and constant guidance, support, that in fact radiates as a source of energy within all of us. Thank you so much, sir. Last but not the least, a very big thanks to all the faculty colleagues, teaching staff, non-teaching staff, technical staff who always stand by us for any kind of support. And the biggest thank to our Green Brigade of student volunteers who have worked tirelessly and for last many weeks. And I'm sure your efforts will certainly make this conference a grand success. I hope you all will have a very engaging and enriching sessions in the next 3 days. I thank you all once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Now let us all rise up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you. Before we end, can I request everyone to pose for a group photograph?